to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Guns, self-defense, concealed carry. This is the Patriot Defense Podcast. From the war room in Idaho's high desert, here's your host, Todd Echols.
And I am back. It is Saturday afternoon. I am tucked away in the war room somewhere in the high desert of southern Idaho. And joining me today is Magnum, because he says I don't do the podcast often enough. I used to do them every week.
Yeah, you've been slacking lately.
I'm always slacking, but I've been slacking lately. So we discussed doing this one like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, we got to do it. I had a race coming up, and I was like, I'll just do it after the race. I got to focus on this race, which I didn't finish, but I had to focus on it. Now we're back to life as normal. So I'm back to slacking. That's essentially what it's going to be like, but is the best time of year. It's warming up. We're getting out on the range. Classes are happening. The birds are singing. Magnum's phone is going off. So it's that time of year, man. It's just the time of year when it's the best time of year to get out and shoot, the best time of year to get out and train, and I'm looking forward to it. I know nothing stops you from shooting, unless Todd says you can't come out and use the range.
Yeah, no, if it ain't raining, you ain't training, right?
There you go. Unless you're brand new and you don't know your firearm, and you don't need to be out in the rain because that is unsafe.
Or if you got arthritis and
or arthritis
starting to set in and you can't feel the trigger anymore.
Yeah, you helped me with the I've been pretty good over the past years. I haven't had any super cold classes, not very many. We've had like 2 in a row now.
Yeah, that last one, we were out here on the range. I bundle up. I prep for it when I come out.
Yeah,
but,
I do not.
There was a young lady out there we had to assist. I had to take my gloves off, and maybe 35, 40 seconds out, couldn't feel my hands.
Yeah.
I really felt bad for your students that day.
Yeah, but we take a break at 50 rounds. They got to come in and warm up. There was that one person that had, I don't know what it's called. I can't remember it now, but she has that disease where her hands go. Raynaud's disease, right? And I don't know if it's like lack of blood flow or what it is, but her hands were turning purple.
Yeah, my father has that, and it's kind of interesting. You can squeeze his fingers when it's cold, and it looks like he's a dead person. They stay flat.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's the way it is, and so it's been nicer weather. But man, my last 2 permanent classes have been pretty full classes. I've had the maximum amount signed up. Have they showed up? No. But I'd rather have 30 people sign up and have 20 people show up than 20 people signed up and 10 show up. So this next class, though, I've got almost 30 people signed up again, which is a good sign because I don't know. I don't think I've had this strong of a start to the year in a long time. I suppose it could be a good sign for the business, maybe not so good sign for society. Well, when things happen that's in society that aren't good, I get busy. And I hate to say that. I don't rejoice in bad things happening, but I sure like my business to stay busy.
That's true. And I think it's right now we start putting together an ammo manufacturing company because
it's going to come. It's coming.
Yeah, you can guarantee it.
When do you think that's really going to hit? I'm like midsummer. Because we've been calling for it, but it hasn't really hit yet.
I'm going to say October, right before election cycle.
Okay, so right in the beginning of fall.
Yeah, we're gonna see the election cycle, all the hype, and then you're gonna start seeing all the polls and whatnot, and the doubt, and people are gonna get nervous. I mean, was it January we were supposed to see a huge spike in?
I don't know that we saw
ammo
that.
Costs. I didn't see it at all. Actually, I've been buying ammo here locally at Washington Street Pond for not really increased over what I was buying it last year.
So I don't know. I mean, that's kind of, and that wasn't just something that Todd made up or that I talked about here on the radio show. It was an actual national article. It said prices of raw materials are going up, and so we're gonna, I was expecting a price increase.
Yeah. So was I.
I've been telling every one of my classes, like especially the women and the men who are doing the year-long thing, the academies. I was like, buy your ammo now. Don't just buy it every time you need to come to class.
Buy it by the case, right?
Buy the case, multiple cases.
Buy it cheap, stack it deep.
There you go. So I, speaking of ammo, So I made that purchase of that PCC, right? The Springfield Armory St. Victor PCC. So it's a pistol caliber carbine 9. The thing is pretty substantial for a PCC, I think.
I'm not a PCC fan, and I think that is actually a pretty cool rifle.
It is. It's so when you think of PCC, what do you think? You think of like a folding sub 2000 or something, right?
Yeah, something. It's uses pistol magazines. It looks awful.
This thing's substantial. It looks like an AR.
It does. It's kind of weird. It's like that merriment between an AR, and because of the mags that it uses, it gives you that flavor of the like a Thompson.
I feel like I'm a gangster.
Yeah, you just need a drum magazine that runs 9 mil.
Oh man, I know I could get them, but no. So you shot it just a little bit. That thing's kind of fun.
It is fun. It get expensive.
I'm gonna have to start
dump a lot of ammo.
I know I haven't had it out since then. I need to start doubling my 9 mil orders. I can already see this right now that when I take it out, expect 250 rounds through it easy. I mean, the only thing that holds me up until I buy more magazines is that those Colt mags are kind of a pain in the butt to load. Have
you tried the Maglila loader on it yet?
I have not.
To see if that works.
I'll have to check it out.
It's just going to cost you more ammo in the long run.
I know. The easier it is to load, so I was looking online at magazines, and you can buy the actual magazines. And then for like $10 or $15, you can buy the cheaper ones. And I'm like, I wonder how good the cheaper ones are.
I would spend $10, $15 to find out. And if it turns out to be a piece of crap, don't buy it again.
Yeah, well, that's true. Maybe I should just buy like one or two and test them out, throw them on the ground, shoot them. We'll see.
Just run them till they split. And see
I really didn't need that rifle or that PC, whatever it is. I didn't need that gun.
Well, it's not about need.
I know, but I also wanted to get a SIG Cross too. And I could have almost had that Cross.
That's still on the table, just time and patience.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
Yeah. Every month, James is like, here, texting me pictures. Look what I got. Look what I got. And I'm like, dang it. I mean, you showed up today. What did you show up today with? Which we're going to shoot after class, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got to zero it.
Yeah.
So I ended up with a Stealth Arms Platypus, and I got kind of a little rant prepared for us here at the 20.
We'll get into that, yeah.
The 2011 craze that's going on, and unfortunately, like the bearskin hoodie, I have fallen straight into the advertisement. But I jumped on the opportunity to pick a Stealth Arms Platypus, and I actually cut loose a Staccato P for it. Now, I know a lot of your listeners are going to go, well, you let a P go for that? Ultimately, I'm a shooter that shoots. Yeah. And if it's something I don't like or I can't make it the way I like it.
Why hold on to it?
Yeah. If I get something out of a deal, even if I lose a little bit and somebody else is getting something that they want, I'm good with it. But I think in this deal that I did, I really didn't lose anything because it's a great looking gun. I'm hoping it runs today.
No, we're fine. It feels really good. That gun feels amazing. It feels amazing when you grip it.
I really do like the feel of it. I like, and it fits all my other holsters and stuff. So the concept is there, and I run 1911s consistently. I think I only have 2 plastic guns that I like, and it's the only 2 plastic guns I'm going to keep.
Yeah.
The Platypus, I was looking at, I think the final decision came down to the magazines. The Staccato magazines are $130 a piece. And even to keep them running consistently well, spring changes, corrected followers, that sort of thing.
Right.
For better or worse, no matter how much you don't like a Glock, and I'm not a big fan, Glock magazines are reliable, they're cheap, and they're everywhere. And the Platypus runs on Glock magazines. Yeah. So what else could you ask for, right?
Oh,
cheap
for sure.
Mags. My $124 mag for a Staccato, I can buy 10, P9L mags for the Glock.
Right.
Call it good.
Well, I'm anxious when we shoot it. We'll have to give a report later on, but I'm anxious to shoot it. That's the first gun, and granted it's a 2011, but as far as it still has that 1911 like grip angle.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I don't really care for the way the 1911s always feel in my hand. I think every time I've shot one of yours, I've said, yeah, it shoots nice, but it feels this thing locked into my hand.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, whoa. Like it was like it was built for the size of my hand. Like there's no gaps, there's no anything. It's the way with the magwell flare on it and just everything. It feels like my hand just indexes in there just perfectly. Like there's no room to spare, and it's just tight.
There goes that Sig Cross.
That's kind of what I'm thinking now. Like,
well, I think the nice thing about it, like I got this one in a trade deal, but I was actually going to sell the Staccato to go have one built and sent. Yeah. It's like 11 to 13 weeks, and they'll custom build it. And it's not what I would have built exactly, but I think, kind of the Lord puts things in our path.
Yeah.
And it is definitely more than I expected. And like I said, I hope it shoots well. If it does shoot well and Stealth Arms keeps doing what they're doing and they've got caliber stuff, improvements coming out here, I will probably buy another one.
Are you saying that the Lord endorses the 2011? Is that what you're saying?
I think so, man. I think so. especially if they make it in 45.
9mm. I was going to say, no. He endorsed the 9mm.
Well, he did take Gaston Glock, so I'm sure there's some sort of,
They're working on something.
Yeah, it could be. You can see, JMB up there working along with Gaston, and they're going to come out with something like this,
Oh, that's great. That's great. So the reason why I brought you in here today is because we always make fun of things, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I know I brought James in, I brought Magnum in so he could do the legwork for me today because I was supposed to compile a list too. And every time I thought of something and I was going to write it down, I did not. But there's those things out there, right? We see these things advertised that you just shake your head, whether it's a crappy holster, whether it's some kind of advertisement, these gimmicks, these things that people buy and they buy tons of. And it's just, and you're like, why? Like, it's like these impulse buy type things, right? And we're going to talk about that and just things in the gun culture, the firearms community that are just fun to make fun of a little bit and weird bandwagon stuff. So take it away, sir.
It's funny that you mentioned, holsters, because I think 5 of the things that I was able to dig up were all about holsters.
Oh, man.
And just some of the stuff that you see out there. I'm a big proponent of appendix carry now, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of folks who don't like it. That's okay. You do you, and then when you fall and break your hip on your gun, it's on you.
Yeah.
Right? So, but I've seen these appendix carry holsters come out, and they look a lot like these new firearms that have gotten lightning cuts in them, right? So everything's got holes through it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, and you're carrying appendix, and it's got all holes through it. Yeah, I mean, if you're not, the metro guy out there shaving yourself clean every day, drawing that gun's probably going to be a little uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And on top of that, it introduces debris, the possibility of debris dropping in there, things you don't want in there, cotton from your shirt or from your underdrawers, So holsters with holes all through them, so you can see how pretty your gun is behind your pants, under your belt, up to your skin. I don't get it.
And so, that's just ridiculous. And I know it's cool. Holsters are cool. Like I've seen some holsters with the cool Kydex. I've got a holster that has Patriot Defense all over it.
Yeah.
But guess what? It's an IWB holster. Like no one's going to see that. I think it looks kind of cool. No one's going to see that. But then again, these fancy what do they call them on car? Like high speed holes or high speed? You know what I'm talking about? Where they drill the holes and everything to make it lighter and faster.
The weight reduction stuff.
The weight reduction. You don't need that in your holster.
No,
that's just ridiculous.
If you're saving weight on your holster, I don't get that. I just don't. Maybe buy a better belt.
Buy a polygon.
Yeah, something along those lines. Cut holes in the gun, not the belt.
Well, what about the whole? And you probably have this on your list. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. What about the holster? What's the holster where you actually the gun sits on a rod that goes up through the barrel?
Oh my God! Yeah, no, I did throw this one out there.
Yeah.
So, I call those the trigger guard holsters. So they've got the trigger guard, or they've got that.
They used to never even have a trigger guard. It just sat on a freaking rod that you jammed up through the barrel.
Yeah, you stick it in the barrel and you hook it on. It's got a J hook on it. Goes under your pants and over your belt. And I'm thinking, wow.
And so you essentially have if you're carrying correctly, in my mind, You have a gun, loaded magazine, chambered round, and now you're not protecting the trigger, and now you've just introduced a barrel obstruction.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'm all about saving some money, but that, there's that thing, buy once, cry once is probably a good way to go.
Yeah.
Go to somebody that's good, right? We've got Cryptic Kydex here in Idaho. We've got Tier 1 holsters do a great job.
Yeah.
Also, that's one of my rants too, is some of those higher end guys. But
yeah,
Safariland makes some good stuff. There's just safer stuff out
I bought a couple things from a guy out of Oklahoma called Gray Man Solutions, which actually he made the one that has the Patriot. I like it. I think it's pretty decent. But I don't know. It's these holster things. You know what I see is those clips on the side of the slides.
Oh,
those
are terrible.
Come into my classes, and as soon as I see one of those, I tell them take it off. Take it off. Not in my classroom.
So have you seen the clips that are grips for the J frames, Smith & Wesson J frames, and similar?
No.
So this is how I learned I don't want a 2-inch 357 Magnum in a Scandium frame. First time I ever shot one.
Yeah.
1, it's really light. 2, 357 Magnum. Out of a full-size gun's not too bad. Out of a 2-inch gun that weighs 13 ounces is no fun.
Yeah.
You get 2 rounds and your hand starts to tingle. But it had that grips on it that had a clip molded into it, and you're supposed to just stick it in your belly, and it hangs on this stupid clip. Like, how retarded could that possibly be?
Oh yeah,
in a revolver nonetheless. Now everybody wants to tout how reliable a revolver is. Just press the trigger and you get your next round. Yeah, get some lint down in that hand where it's designed to turn that cylinder.
Yeah. Or
get a chunk of lint where the cylinder lockup comes into, and you don't get a straight lockup, and you end up shaving, or you cut the barrel cone in half with a bullet and probably lose a few fingers.
Yeah.
So it's that's one of the ticked off myths.
Have you what are your, and I've seen this on a few, I've seen this way more than once. What do you think about everyone tries to come out with their like minimalistic holster, right? Well, you need to have a certain amount of Kydex there in my brain, like to support the gun to whatever. So there's a thing called Mexican carry, right? You just carry by tucking it into your waistband. That's without a holster. So someone went super minimalistic, and they just have that little plastic clip that you actually tie it. It's got a little elastic strap on it. You tie it onto your belt loop or wherever you hook the damn thing, and then you just clip that over the trigger guard. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that is on one of my stupid things to do list.
Yeah, okay. Well, and
I put it right in with that barrel plug thing, right?
Yeah.
You got a rope on your gun, which that's a great way if that rope isn't stowed to hook on something and jerk the gun out of your pants.
Yeah.
On top of that, your draw stroke training it should always be the same. In real application, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a full stroke to remove that clip on there. And then 2, you sweat all over your gun.
Yeah.
You're going to find rust. And I'm all about having tools, but a mechanic doesn't have rusty tools.
Yeah.
You keep your tools clean, you keep them lubed. What if you got an allergy to oil, right? You're going to rub that up against your skin the whole time? Or abrasive portions on the firearm.
Lots of holsters are built to actually be comfortable, and the part that goes against your skin.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and they do that. They do that for a reason. And so if that little plastic clip that goes over the trigger guard, I've never had one. I've never experienced one, but it goes over that trigger guard, right? And it's connected by a piece of elastic string. You imagine that popping off and whacking yourself in the twig and berries, man.
Yeah, slingshot your sack right about the time you need your gun. But I think with those, they were an answer to a problem where people want to carry in their gym shorts and have some way to do it. And I think there is a company now that's starting to solve that. So you can have gym shorts. It's got a belt built into it, so it's actual carry type shorts, and you can run any holster you want on it.
So I'm going to be 100% honest with you, and I know this guy is listening to this podcast right now, and I have made fun of them in the past because it just seemed like there was a lot of. There's a company out there called the Filster.
Yeah.
the filster. I don't know how to freaking say it, but it's like a whole system. Like it's got levers and tighteners and fasteners. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like it has a cult following. Like it's called the Filster Enigma, I think. And if you go, you go on Facebook and someone asks a question about a holster, someone will actually tag the group. And it's actually, the group's name is, have you heard about the Filster Enigma? I mean, it's freaking I see it everywhere.
I think the Enigma is living off of their original invention, which Filster actually made a really good holster. They call it the Floodlight. Mm-hmm. And essentially, all you have to have is a light that matches that holster, and you can carry almost any gun in it that you can mount that light to, which is a great way of doing it. If you got multiple guns in one light,
Yeah, and I'm not making fun of the Filster. I think it's got a culty, but I know a guy that listens to the podcast, and he lives in Texas. His name's Michael, but he bought it, and he says it's great. He loves it. And I know we have a mutual friend, Forrest, who I think his son one of his boys bought one of those and says it's great. Huh. And it's made to wear under sweatpants. It's made to wear under gym shorts. So where the holster and the whole system rides on you and your hips and around your waist and not on the waist of your clothing. So I'm not going to make fun of it too much, but man, it just seems like there is a lot going on.
I think if it's purpose built, it's built well, it's got the guards and that, and it works for somebody, go for it.
Yeah.
Something like the belly band, they can throw that in a lake as far as I'm concerned.
So I get it. So the belly band does not protect the trigger well. I will say that there is a belly band out there that works. And it is actually by Crossbreed Super Tuck. It's called the Crossbreed, not Super Tuck's the name of a different holster, but it's the Crossbreed Modular Belly Band. And it looks just about like all the other belly bands, piece of elastic, stretchy, whatever. But instead of having a little elastic pocket that you stick the gun in, that you can still get to that trigger, right, still unsafe, they actually have a Kydex. I actually have one, but they actually have a Kydex shell. And you buy the band to fit you, and then the shell itself is made for your gun. You buy them per your gun. And it has got a piece of Kydex, flat Kydex on the back. Your gun clicks into place like it would a regular holster, and then it's got Velcro on the back. And then you can position that onto the belly band however you want. And so I'm demonstrating this like I got a camera, like people are watching me, but mostly for you put the belly band around your waist, it Velcros. So you have a tail with more Velcro on the other end. You position that wherever you want, that shell, wherever you want, and then you stretch it. You put the gun in there and you think, it's going to flop over. Then you stretch it over and connect it. It actually is really a good thing for a lot of people. I actually know some women in the past that have taken women's classes from me. And they are nurses or whatever, and they don't necessarily work at the hospital. But where they work, it's a private office, it's a private business. And I know not too long ago here, we were having a lot of these guys break in and like steal prescriptions and stuff, or whatever meds. And their doctors, their bosses said, yeah, you can carry. If you have your permit, you can carry. And that works really good under their scrubs. So I know it's still a belly band, but it's not like your typical belly band, and I'm really impressed with it. It's not for me, but you're right. Your basic belly band, those suck.
Yeah, I could never quite figure. I mean, I figured the vast majority of people I see that wore them, they're out running with them. They're doing physical activities, and I'm thinking, if you're running and it's elastic and you're sweaty and eventually it just starts riding places that it shouldn't be going, or your gun's flopping around, making it uncomfortable. Now, it's not to say that there isn't a company like you described that's building something. I mean,
but your basic belly band is just crap. I know, I get it.
Yeah, and you can essentially chalk that up to any other holster too. I mean, you can look at there's a few holster companies out there that make an appendix carry holster. I hate single clips, and they got what they would call a wing on it, but it looks like a straw attached to the side of the gun.
Yeah.
And you can go, hey, that's a crappy holster, but you go to someone like Tier 1, or you go to our local guy, Cryptic Kydex, and they're building you a holster that it's comfortable, it's firm, it's secure, it mounts and conceals your gun the way you want it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you can't necessarily knock all the appendix carry holsters for, somebody building a piece of crap like an Uncle Mike's or something.
And since we're talking about holsters, what is your opinion? And I've never had one. I know that there was a lawsuit. They're having some troubles at the very beginning. What is your opinion on alien gear?
Alien gear.
They have gotten complicated.
They have. When they first came out,
they were copying crossbreed.
Essentially,
there was. Well, I won't say that because crossbreed was my very, very, very first holster way back in the day, and they were decent.
I think what Alien Gear did with their concept is they did a better job than crossbreed did.
Sure.
So they made it more comfortable. They made it stickier, and then with their shell policy, if you traded guns, as long as it was on a certain size backing, they would change you the shell out for free,
and that was fine. And then they started getting all this plasticky stuff
they
that you
got
attached.
Some weird.
I mean, I feel like it looked like I was some kind of freaking robot or something with all that stuff on there. It's like snaps and clicks and turns and twists.
Yeah, especially tools. And I mean, modular stuff is cool, right? I like modular stuff, but seriously, if you're gonna buy this kit,
you got 3 pounds of plastic tucked into your pants.
Yeah. And think about the changeover, right? So if you have an appendix carry holster from them that also functions as a drop leg holster, that functions as a chest holster, you're going to spend that much time changing it out each day for the different activity that you're doing? Or is it just go get a holster, that you use for concealed carry so it's consistent, and then a holster for your drop leg rig, and then something for your chest when you go out.
As a company, sometimes I would think it'd be better just to be good at one thing. Like one holster for this, one holster for that, one holster for this, instead of making it work. There's a reason why that they aren't all the same, right? Now, at the very, very least, I could see a company going from OWB to IWB, and that's just by, you got a few extra holes, and you're just taking a couple screws out and just flipping some clips around, right?
Yeah, but even then, you got to do the work.
You do
got to flip it around.
Yeah.
Why not just have a second
dedicated
holster for that?
Yeah, dedicated holster.
It's a lot easier. And even in that case, people run truck guns, right? You got a truck gun, and or the stupidest thing I've seen. So I should have put on the list was the attachment point in the car for your gun to stick to. Right?
Oh my God, yeah.
Well, you take your holster off and you slide it on this pole, and now your holster's on this pole, and then why would you do that? That's a great place for you to just leave your gun in the car. Keep it on your person. And again, that brings us back to appendix carry. And I'm a fat dude that carries full 5-inch 1911s, full size guns, and I can carry appendix and drive with zero problem. Why? Because I buyed once, I cried once, I paid the price for a good holster that was designed the way I wanted it for the purpose I needed it for. So I don't need a bunch of extra crap. And
this buy one, cry once. I mean, that's a perfect situation. Get a good holster, one that you can, carry your gun on your person while you're driving. The least amount you have to handle that firearm, a loaded firearm, hopefully you're carrying it and it's loaded and chambered, the less you're going to have to worry about accidentally hitting that trigger. Because there's not a whole lot of people that when they take their gun off, they take their gun out and then they take their holster off. I take mine off all in one unit, which is, I think, the way it needs to be done, right? You just grab those clips, at least on mine, grab those clips, pull them out, slide it off your belt. It's that easy. I'm glad you touched on that because I was going to say the exact same thing there. I think the only caveat I do with that is at the end of the day, right, when it's time to put things away and transition to, the nightstand gun or whatever household firearm I'm using for protection of the house, is that I don't waste the opportunity for a concealed carry draw. Yeah. I will still do a dry fire draw, clear that firearm, do a couple of draws before it's time to put it away for the day, goes in the safe, holster comes off. But the rest of the time, if I'm getting something out of my car, I have to crawl underneath the car and I take it out, that whole entire holster comes out. So your concealed carry holster should be something that you can remove from your body by, it shouldn't be super easy because you don't want it to fall off, but by a mechanical means, you can reach down and just pull it off. You have to. Having a pancake holster dedicated to your belt and that. Okay, if you're riding a horse or maybe you're on something out in the range and you want to do that, okay, that's cool. But concealed carry is concealed carry, and even if that means you don't keep the things on you that indicate that you have a firearm on you. Right.
At least that's just the way I believe it. Same reason I don't put stickers on my car, right?
So you don't sleep with your gun on your person? Well, geez, I guess I'm doing it wrong.
No, and it's like the stickers on your car.
Yeah.
Or,
hey, I got those. I don't even care at this point. They know who I am.
That's true. But I mean, in another life.
But I drive a shit box. They're probably afraid they're going to end up with a high point. They don't even freaking bother.
In another life, your stickers would indicate to me where I could find a firearm.
Oh, sure.
I mean, and that's where I would go to look. But that's, a whole other conversation.
I only have stickers on my Scout. I'm not that worried. I don't drive the Scout that much.
Well, the doors don't close, the windows don't roll up.
So. No, they don't.
It wouldn't matter anyway.
Fall through the rust hole in the floor. It is what it is.
Tell you, follow the oil trail to the truck.
Hey, the gas station. Just follow me to the gas station. That's all you need to do. What else you got on your list there?
Oh, let's see. One I popped
list.
off I thought was really weird the other day. So, I'm a fan of, even though I say I don't like Glocks, I'm a fan of all firearms, right? They all contribute something. Even the old single action 6 guns. But sometimes somebody comes out with a really ridiculous idea. And I love Uberti guns, but I seen an 1873 revolver they're now doing, and they call it the Hunter model. And instead of it looking, it's like a classic firearm look with a machined Picatinny rail all the way down the top of this gun. It is, quite frankly, the ugliest damn thing I think I've ever seen. And I've seen a few guns that do it tastefully. Ruger Super Blackhawk Hunter. They've got a full rail on the top. They've got a place for your scope rings, but it's tasteful. You throw a tactical rail on an 1873 single action.
It's like going too far.
Yeah. It's like, yuck.
I mean, they went for what they're kind of known for, and then they just effed it all up.
Yeah. It's like they were trying to take the tactical lever action and put it into a single action 6 gun.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, guys, it's terrible. It looks terrible. It will
tactical
probably
tactical lever actions are cool, though.
I do think they're cool. But I think is that going to that single action 6 gun is just one step too far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Not much, but I've been wrong before. Yeah,
I don't know. The cap and ball guys are like, yes. I went, that's a new project.
Hey, when that shoots off, at least you see where your laser is pointing.
I should get. No, I have one. I should get a cap and ball pistol. Figure out how to attach a red dot to that sucker.
That would be interesting.
I'd do it just to do it. Okay, that's it. If you guys, someone's got a cheap cap and ball inexpensive cap and ball out there, this is what I want to do. I want to do. This is what I want to do. I want to take it. I want to cut it off, cut the barrel off. We're gonna make concealed carry, like my man Porter Rockwell did, and then I want to add a red dot to it. I want to figure out. So if you've got a cheap one that you're willing to let go of, hit me up. Let me know. I'm getting it.
That'd be crazy.
That's going to be a summer for this. If I can find a cheap one, that we're doing it. We are doing it. You're behind me on it.
I'd like to see how it comes out. I'm not shooting it.
Why not?
Well, if you're going to mount a red dot to it, right, you're going to have to put it somewhere. So that leaves the Navy models out because they have no top strap. So you're going to have to look at like the Remingtons or the Colt style, right?
I'm going to figure out how to attach.
And it's really thin top strap.
I'm going to figure out how to attach it to the thing under the gun that goes up over it.
You know what? They might be able to make a grip insert that goes behind it.
I'm telling you. I know people with CNC machines. I know people who can build stuff like that.
I think you'd have to cast it first. With that many bends and tweaks, it'd have to be cast.
I'll figure out something. We'll make my 18-year-old shoot it first. Now,
the funny one on the list here I got is the 2011 craze.
Yes.
Right? The 2011 craze. And I'm a sucker for it because I've got 3. I prefer 1911s, but the 2011 is definitely coming into its own, or the 2311, or whatever you want to call them now. But even the Glock guys are reneging the Glocks, and they're going to these 2011s everywhere, and everybody's making them, and not everybody's doing a good job.
Yeah.
We've got EEA Witnesses importing a version that I felt the other day I would rather fly rubber dog shit out of a C-130 and out of Hong Kong for a living than own one of those. It had like a 9-pound trigger on it. Everything is sharp. It doesn't look good. I mean, what a piece of crap.
Yeah.
T-Sauce is going to introduce theirs. I hope they don't screw up their reputation because I generally like the T-Sauce 1911s. I think they've done a good job with them. I hope that they don't screw up their 2011 platform or their double stack 1911 platform. Springfield, like anything, when they first come out, suck. And then eventually over time it gets better. And I think that thing is really coming into its own, especially in its price range. And then that Oracle Arms that runs as P320 mags. I think they copycatted Stealth Arms. Stealth came out with the Glock magazine version, which we're going to hope runs today. But they made it look all funky. Matter of fact, SIG is now introducing a 2011 lookalike that's based off of the P320. I just saw this thing the other day, and it is about as goofy as it gets. It does not look like a 1911 should. It looks a lot like the Oracle Arms version. I just don't think that they're doing it right. I could be wrong. I don't think so. We'll see. But I do find this craze where everybody is running out to get into the 2011 market is really not a great idea.
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, it might be it might, it's the kind of, we'll say, the newest thing to the firearms market, right?
Yeah.
And so we'll see what happens. I kind of remember when some of this stuff first started, and the 9mm stuff never ran quite right, and it was always having problems. And so you talking about those prompts me back in the day when I always thought, I mean, maybe it was cool. I guess I never had one, but people were doing all those barrel conversions, like in Glocks and whatnot, right?
Oh, yeah.
The caliber conversions. Stuff was huge.
Yeah, it'd be nice to, you got a gun that does multiple things.
So I looked at I can't remember, what gun was that? I was looking at buying a gun. I can't remember it. Maybe it was a Glock of some kind. What's that 22 round? That isn't a 22 long rifle. It's not a mag. It's a 22.
Oh, the 22 TCM.
TCM
from Arms Corps and
that kind of just died, I think. But I was looking at getting one that actually that had a conversion and everything.
Yeah, they came stock with a 9mm. They were a 9mm Rock Island, and then you had the barrel. Because the magazine essentially it's the same dimensions and everything as the 9mm. I don't believe, and somebody's probably going to correct me if I'm wrong on this. I don't believe the 9mm is actually the parent case. I think it's just the same dimensional size. I think they use like a cut down rifle casing, like a 5.56 type casing for it, just for the higher pressures and whatnot. I could be wrong on that. Somebody will correct me, but dimensionally they're the same. It's like the 40 and the 357 SIG.
Do you think what killed that, because it's pretty much dead, do you think what killed that was the 5.7?
No, it came after the 5.7.
It came after the 5.7.
Yeah, the 22 TCM came after the 5.7.
This is why you're here. So.
And I was assuming that the 22 TCM was going to be the 5.7 killer because you could actually get it more readily than you could 5.7 at a decent price. And I think the 22 TCM is still rolling around out there, but there's not a huge manufacturing base for it. Not a lot of people are jumping on it. It is a unique round. The ballistics on it are awesome. But then you've got companies like my primary carry round is Liberty Civil Defense. You're running a 50 grain round that's its diameter of a 9mm at over 2,000 feet per second out of a 4-inch gun. Out of a 5-inch gun, they're pushing even up to 2150. So you're talking almost 5.56 ballistics. Say if you had a 7.5 inch or even up to a 10-inch 5.56. It is 5.56 going to be faster at 10.5 inch, regardless. Probably 400 to 500 feet faster. But the mechanics of it, and there's a specific word, the engineering. I'm not exactly sure the word I'm looking for, but essentially, when you have a round that meets a certain threshold at speed, the temporary wound cavity or the cavitation cavity is in general about 30 times the size of the diameter of the round. When you have a 9mm round that's going that fast, and it is designed to create multiple fragments, multiple wound channels, and it has a cavitation cave that's 30 times the size of a standard 9mm. You have a pretty effective round. Now, most will argue that the weight is a disadvantage because you don't get a lot of penetration. But unless you're shooting at Bigfoot, you're not, you know.
The person's not that thick anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could be, the argument is, you know, say if you get a side shot on somebody through the arm into their chest cavity, well, I've got 17 more friends in that round that'll deal with the rest of that, right?
You're going to shoot them once, and it's a good chance they're going to turn and face you at one point.
Yeah. Yeah. As they're spinning to the ground. But
yeah,
either way, I have several other opportunities to resolve that issue. Mm-hmm. And it's like with the 5.56, people complained about the 22 round being so small. Its cavitation wasn't based on the diameter of the round. It was based on the fact that the round would tumble, and that bullet is, an inch and a half long. So it goes from being a 22 caliber round moving at 3,000 feet per second to flattening out and going through you sideways, which changes the dynamics of that round.
So what about, and I poke around TikTok and stuff. I watch these videos. In fact, there was a gentleman that interviews a bunch of, we call them, anyhow, you sent me some. We did an interview with a guy who's just like bloodlusting after, wanting to kill people and things. You sent me that. Remember that guy? He's doing the interview, and I've
sent a lot of stuff. So
yeah,
I'd have to go back and look.
Anyhow, I forget the guy's name, but he was talking to this guy, and what this guy was, he was like, used to be a sniper in the SEALs or something, and he talked about his personal carry rounds and what he carries, and it's a tumble round.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
What's explain? I mean, I know you got to go because we're a time crunch for you.
No, that's okay.
So
I've just recently started looking at this, but they call it the tumble upon impact round.
Yeah, when it's a water-based material, so skin, flesh, stuff like that.
Yeah. So essentially, it's a design. I think the design is more following the Russian 5.45 by 39 round, how it was designed to twist and cavitate at high speed. And I think they're trying to do that with a 9mm that gives you barrier blindness.
It's pointy.
It is pointy, and it definitely provides solid feeding into most guns.
Oh, yeah.
But I am not seeing enough evidence that it is turning out to be what it's supposed to be.
We need to get an animal, animal carcass to shoot at.
It'd be interesting. I'm kind of interested in looking at the rounds. Of course, I've been looking them up and going.
I know. I looked them up. I did kind of a deep dive a little bit yesterday, and I was like, "What this tumble round they're talking about?"
Yeah, and really, the bullet's not necessarily that long to deal with with the cavitation portion, right?
Right.
I think there are better rounds that are already available that deal with cavitation, that don't do the turn your butt back around and facewards.
Yeah.
And if I remember right, all the years of us watching this ballistic testing online, there were a lot of bullets that got bad rap for, jacket separation, or, well, we saw that round turned around backwards. It wasn't following a straight path through. And so they all complained about it. It's like guys that complain about 40 that shoot 10mm.
Right.
The arguments just don't make any sense. I mean, ultimately, Golden Saber, right? Golden Saber round's a proven round, been around a long time. Not my favorite round, but in its technology class when it first came out, it was great. Now everybody complains that it had jacket separation on it. Well, to me, that's just 2 wound channels. So,
yeah.
I'm not necessarily worried about what it's doing once it's inside there, as long as it's inside there.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't leave there.
Exactly. So,
and if it's coming apart, it's probably not leaving.
Exactly. And I think, I could be wrong. Again, I'm not an expert, but I think the TMJ, or the tumble upon impact, so it's TUI round, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Is interesting. And it may lead to some other technology, but I think it's lacking right now.
We need to do this. So, I like the way when you come on and you do these podcasts, because you're pretty good at making you're way better than me at like making lists and stuff. I think we need to get you back here. We need to do just a specific carry ammo podcast. Like, we'll make a list of all the different kinds of carry ammo that's out there. I mean, we've seen them all, right? I mean, we'll make a list, and I'll even do my due diligence, And we'll look at these and maybe give a history and explain the good, the pros, why they work, why they don't work. Would you be into something like that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
That would be very cool, because it's crazy some of the stuff I see people carry.
I've heard some weird stories. My favorite are the Full Metal Jacket guys.
Oh my gosh.
Still carrying Full Metal Jackets, like, it's not necessary.
Yeah.
It really isn't. And if your gun doesn't feed anything but Full Metal Jacket,
get a different gun.
Go see a competent gunsmith or get a different gun.
Get rid of the 1911 is what I'm going to say.
Oh gosh, no.
So, well, hey, I appreciate having you on the show today, on the podcast today. We actually made it 45 minutes. Not too bad. I do want to give you plenty of time to go out and shoot this platypus, and I obviously am going to stand there next to you and shoot it as well. So I know you got to get heading out here pretty quick. So I'm going to wrap it up. But if you follow the podcast, and listen, I do appreciate it. Share it on social media. Share it with all your family, all your friends. And keep an eye. I got some more stuff happening. I'm probably going to fire up the Patreon again. I know I'm very lacking in a lot of areas, and that happens to be one of them. But I got maybe a new little series coming that I'm thinking about doing. I'll announce that, put up links for that, and talk about it on the next podcast when I get that up and rolling. So pay attention to that. Until then, everyone, have a great weekend. Enjoy the beautiful weather, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.